Hey, and welcome back to the number one podcast in the world, the Cellarcast. Are you aware of this, Prox? We're the number one podcast in the world.
Yes.
See? He knows.
Yes.
Do you? Today is another special or increasingly less special episode because Prox is back. He is...
Yes.
He's in the proximity. What is the meaning behind Prox? Unless it's your birth name.
It's not my name. It's just a pseudonym. But Prox, I've had this name for since maybe almost 10 years now, and a part of me thought back then it's like, dude, it's like I want to do networking stuff with computers and you use a proxy.
Oh, like proxy.
Dude, oh my god. But in reality, I think I just stole it from a dude named Prox on a Gary's Mod server I was playing on. And I was like, dude, that's a great name, because my name at the time was like Ghost or some stupid shit. So I was like, dude, God. Prox, that's the one. I'm stealing his name. I'll be Prox. But then every time I joined that zombie survival server back in 2012, they'd always be like, "You're not Prox. You're some other kid.
You're just an imposter."
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I got the name. There's
that's great.
10,000 of them on YouTube. I'm gonna have to get better so you can actually find me with that one name instead of Prox is Frisky, because that's just a chain of words I put just so you can find me, and I didn't know what else to do. Don't take it for meaning anything. It really doesn't.
Is it because you're like a cat? You like your Friskies? Like cat food?
People think of it as like, oh, he's sexual. But that's
you're
not
a frisky little fellow.
That's not it at all. Like, it's just I don't know. I play video games and I don't take myself seriously.
It does sound nice. Prox is frisky. It's got a nice rhythm.
Yeah, I kind of thought of the rhythm from Leafy is Here.
You're
man, that
right.
Works.
Wow. Continues to be an inspiration.
Yeah, I should have made my name Prox is Online, because that's sort of a big part of my aesthetic and stuff. I'm not gonna change it though, because I'm too fucking lazy. And my name is Prox already on YouTube, so whatever.
Well, when the new handle feature comes out for everyone, then you can pick one that's a little more SEO friendly. We were talking about that. I don't know if people know about this, the handles thing. It's been weirdly under advertised.
I didn't know about it until you brought it up on my stream yesterday.
Yeah.
And God, man, SEO, I have a whole big opinion on that. I don't know if I've given it, but I think
no, you haven't.
People, basically in the past, I've had people try to tell me that SEO is the most important shit ever, and I agree. It is kind of important to have your stuff recognizable, but if you don't make something good behind it, it's pointless. Nobody's gonna want to watch your video, dude. It's not all about SEO. You have to make some inspired content, whatever it is.
You can really tell, actually. You can really tell when there's a channel that is 100% they spec'd everything into SEO, because they get millions of views and even millions of subscribers, but they have no community.
It's
they have
very corporate
no one,
and soulless.
Yeah, and it's there's people who just max that shit out, and it's funny because I feel like even with I feel like I kind of have lackluster SEO myself. But even with under 5,000 subscribers, I have kind of a nice little community. People who will recursively watch my channel. And I don't know, it's I guess it's building for the long term, which a lot of people who just SEO max are just kind of trying to get in and get out. They're speculators or something.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing to see for me. I'm absolutely against the idea of just making your shit like super duper clickbaity with the fucking red arrow thumbnails and shit and whatever else with maximum SEO, because I mean that's fine, whatever, like people gotta make a buck at the end of the day, but I don't know, I just kind of want to see more soul.
I think it's more about like the underlying content. Like if I see a thumbnail that's I feel like also the term like clickbaity is a little it's a little watered down. To the point where it's just anything that's like trying to catch your attention is clickbaity. Where it used to be like it was lying, like like bait is, like when you're catching fish.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, you think it's food, and it sort of is, but actually, you're dead now. Like that's what clickbait was supposed to be. It's like, oh, it lures you in with something, and then it's actually something else.
Yeah.
But like, I see something, I'm like, well, this is highly marketable, I guess is maybe a better term. And I click on it, and it's like, if it's kind of lame, I'm like, all right. But if it's like good, I don't really mind too much. I'm like, oh, that was a good video. Got my attention. If it was worth it, basically. I think what builds resentment is when you feel like something's wasted your time. Even like 5 seconds.
Right. It's kind of, I think we've also talked about this too, like, what is, in your opinion, like, how long do you think the average person, like, clicks on your video, like, just some random stranger, not a subscriber, how long do you think their attention span is? In, like, I guess, seconds?
Judging by YouTube analytics, most people drop out within like 30 seconds.
I'd say that's a fair assessment. Like, I haven't looked at my analytics, but I'm gonna look at them now.
Pretty much every video I've ever made, and this is actually very typical, is there'll be like within the first 30 seconds, somewhere in there, usually even faster, there'll be a gigantic drop off, and that's just like most people. They click on something. And then in like 5 seconds, they're like, and they're just very with the wind, and they just click on something else. The more important thing is like, how does the graph look after that? Because that's just like all the chaff going off of people who just weren't going to be interested in the first place. But like people who stick around after that, if you can win them over in the first 30 seconds, or you can if you can keep them around for that long, how many of them end up dropping off? So I actually have pretty consistent, like when I look at my graphs, pretty consistent viewership after that point. So I think I'm doing all right on that end.
Interesting.
YouTube analytics, it's funny because like they give you so much information, but a lot of it I don't find that useful, and there's actually information I wish was there. Like, because I have multiple channels, I'd really like to see what like the crossover is. Like how many people go from one channel to the other, or how many people are subscribed to both, or how many people are like just finding the podcast for the first time, or how many people have just watched the clips, or something like that. Like that would be useful to me, just so that I know what kind of audiences all my channels have, but they don't give you that for some reason, even though they support having multiple channels. It's weird. It's my little gripes. Yeah. Has anyone? Yeah. They have. I briefly mentioned the handles thing. I don't think I have not seen a single person talk about this, so I actually kind of want to mention it because I explained it to you. I think I sort of explained it in like a very rough way. But essentially, I like woke up the other day and I got an email from YouTube that said they were introducing a new thing called handles, which are basically like a Twitter @ And the way they're rolling it out is like not everyone's gonna get the option for it immediately. The main seller channel, I can set one, but it's weird. It's like you have an @ associated with your channel name, and I think the @ is set, like you can't change it, or you can only change it like once every 30 days or something like that. And I think the channel name can be changed, but the like, because there's also like if you have a custom URL, that's also different. It's like the way the way they explained it was basically like enough that I sort of understood what it was about, but I think they really messed up with just there's not a single point on their website or in the little video they put together where they even show like a screenshot of a YouTube web page to show like where this thing shows up. Like, is it going to be on the video? Is it going to be like Twitter where it has like your name and then your @ next to it if you're just watching a video? Is it going to be hidden? Is it only going to be on the channel thing? Is it going to be just the @? Is it like what's the deal? And for some reason they were just like allergic to showing any kind of information, which was a little annoying to me, because they hate, I don't know, they hate being clear. YouTube's always so terribly opaque. With opaque is the opposite of like see-through, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm pretty
it's
sure.
Like
I always forget.
Yeah, something like that.
They're terribly, because low opacity is see-through. They're always terribly opaque with all these like system-wide changes. It's annoying, but yeah, it is a thing that's coming, rolling out soon. So I guess we get prepared to see that. Yeah. Well, sorry, was there something else you wanted to say, or did I cut you off?
No, that's no, not really. I was just gonna mention that I have, speaking of community, mine's like I haven't uploaded a video, like an actual video, in like over a year, and I have, a community of my own, but it's sort of a small one, and it's confusing because it's like they've come from so many different places. Like, I'm sure some of them are like completely random, maybe. I don't really trust the algorithm though. And then some of them come from like Max or Nexpo or the Afraid of Monsters game community in particular, because I kind of engaged with them and thought they would hate my Afraid of Monsters video, but it turns out they absolutely loved it. It's like overwhelmingly positive kind of shit, which is awesome. You're cool for that. I don't know why I thought they would hate it. Like I have kind of a cynical view with some game communities that I just sort of, I guess, carried over from, I don't know, looking at communities like Undertale or Five Nights at Freddy's or something. Or don't know, because I like both of those games, by the way, Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, I remember when it first came out, and it was just like, man, this is really interesting. This is very different, and it quickly became typical. Which is over the years, it's just become very weird to see something that's so I guess niche and new and creative turn into like, oh, okay, sure, all right.
Yeah, it's another one.
Yeah, and then when the Walton Files came out and like Ryan covered them, I was like, holy shit, this is like a brand new perspective on like that FNAF universe. Like, that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, some people hear FNAF or FNAF universe and they just like cringe.
Yeah, that's more to do with I think the fan base.
Yeah, and it could be the same for like some Cry of Fear fans or like Afraid of Monsters fans. I've seen like hate about them and shit, but they're cool. Like, anyway, that was my.
I was actually thinking about that because I was like, I guess I technically made like the third major video on Divine Cybermancy. The first one that like, if you search up the game, the first video that comes up is the Mandalore Gaming Review, and then there's another one that was made a few years later by another fellow whose name I can't remember, and then I'm like the 4th or 5th result the last time I checked. Let me just really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow, okay, I'm all the way down here. Okay. But in terms of like actual like videos about the game that are not just like, here's all the cyber abilities or something like that, or think like actual I guess reviews of the game. I made like the 3rd one, really. And I feel like of the other 2, I went back and I watched both of those videos when I was done with mine, because I didn't want to like get influenced by their opinions. And I realized I think I made the most critical video about it. And I so far I haven't really gotten any pushback on that, surprisingly, despite how cult that game is. Maybe it's just because it hasn't really escaped my core audience, but I've somehow managed to escape, because I feel like maybe this is me. I feel like I have very critical opinions on a lot of games, but I haven't really upset anyone, which is kind of surprised me. Like, I'm waiting for it to happen, and it just hasn't happened.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird. Like Max was explaining to me many months ago, something kind of related to that is, in the beginning, this is something that a lot of bigger YouTubers kind of think about and sort of want to go back to sometimes, even though it means like virtually no money. Is that in the beginning, quote unquote, which I'm guessing is like first 10,000 subs or something, which getting 10,000 subs, I feel like that's an incredible achievement. But anyway, that's besides the point. But in the beginning, it's like we kind of have a like everybody likes us kind of thing going on, being, you know, small YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kind of had the same thing, except there's quite a few dislikes on my Raising Cane's video, and I feel like that's because people don't understand the humor behind it, which I've never really wanted to please everybody anyway, so that's, you know, kind of bound to happen. But it's an interesting thing that happens with our I guess our YouTube careers and stuff. Is it starts off very honeymoonish, even though we struggle to gain people. But that kind of brings up the cool point of like we really do have some of like the best communities, in my opinion. Like very closely knit together people who you know, like the same stuff maybe, and you know, have similar opinions. And
that's funny because like, yeah, shout out Cellar Nation.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of jealous of yours because they're a bunch of dudes or, you know, chicks, whatever, who like just video game stuff. But mine, I feel like I've made, okay, I should have mentioned that I lost subscribers since the stream the other day.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. Because I don't know, I feel like there's a bunch of people I've attracted to my channel that are like waiting for like an ARG or like a spooky video, but that's not.
Oh yeah, that's just yeah,
that wasn't the point. Like, I don't want to make, if anything, I want to make parodies of those things and then proceed to do whatever else I want, like kind of related mostly to video games and art.
Maybe it's the fact that you've only made like 2 videos, so people don't know what to expect. Like, if I go to a channel and there's 2 weird videos on it, I'm like, this is probably an ARG thing.
I guess so.
I just don't get.
I
gotta set the tone.
Yeah, I technically do have 4 videos, but 2 of them are actual projects, and the other 2 are very cryptic.
Yeah, they're like interludes.
Interludes, yeah, to the main project, which I basically what I was leading up to in this rant is, when I release this Matrix video, I have no idea how my audience is going to respond because it's not horror related, but interestingly enough, in about 2 minutes of the script, I am going to make a whole part about the weird horror of the Matrix, literally, like the universe. I don't know how much you know about the Matrix, by the way.
Only like the first movie.
Okay. Well, just imagine, right? put you in a scenario where you're like a rebel trying to fight these machines in a war and shit, and you break into their system, the Matrix, to do it, and you are one mistake away from that system just killing you, like, and doing all kinds of bizarre shit to contain you, like fuck with buildings, with people. I can see that being a horrific environment.
It's like in the first movie, you know, that scene where they like close up his mouth.
Oh yeah, that's a whole.
That's like, that reminds me, because I'm doing a bit. I was actually literally just editing the most recent video, which I'm sorry it's taking a while. But there's a very psychedelic sequence in one of the games that's almost purely through text. So I'm like, okay, how do I like edit this to kind of match the mood? And so I was actually literally just thinking about like psychedelic horror, and like you could 100% the Matrix could fit into that. Like, like I read some accounts of like people who go on really bad trips, and the imagery is like insane, and it's like 100% something that could fit into, like, if there was just, the universe was literally trying to fuck you over. Trying to like kill you.
That's pretty much what the rebels in the Matrix, like, spoiler alert, are going through. Or like, that's the thing too, like my mind always goes to what could have been. Like even with the first Matrix movie, it's just like, man, there could have been so much more explored. Like especially with that horror element, that psychological element that's explored a little bit in the fourth movie. I'm not going to talk about it in detail, but it's quite interesting, and then the movie turns into dog shit.
The schlock.
Yeah.
It seems like something that would be really ripe for like a graphic novel, or like just a straight up like short story, or something like that. To just like a story of someone going into one of these rebels going into the Matrix. And exactly like the worst possible scenario happens, just to like show you that side of the universe.
Yeah.
Unless that already exists.
I imagine there's fan fiction and stuff of the Matrix, and perhaps something like that. A bit of that is kind of going to be in my novel, is like the main character, you know, Sarah in the cyberpunk world and all that, is trying to figure out her past and stuff, as well as finding her son, and then she takes some drugs that take her on like some, you know, cyberpunk type drug shit where you like put something in your ear and it like plays a range of frequencies that just zones you out into somewhere else. And instead of having a typical trip, she has one where it's like all these fragmented fucked up memories, and it's like kind of terrifying, and sort of the only way you learn about that character is through those few rare moments where she's like being introspective. But anyway, I forgot how we got to this.
I was gonna say, I said shout out Cellar Nation.
Right, and shout out to my boys, girls, all you dudes, whatever.
What I wanted to say, what's interesting is that like you have is your Discord just for friends, or is it for like your audience?
So I have I have some personal server things, but then I have a public server that I had a link to in my bio on YouTube, and recently I've decided to remove that link. But the link is still available on my Afraid of Monsters video in the description. So that's still there.
Yeah.
I removed it from my bio because I've had like a couple of instances where it was like these really immature, like obvious, like teenagers trying to be like all cool, like, oh dude, I'm gonna troll this guy on his little server. Like, I've been on the internet for such a long time, you shitheads. Like, I know when you're trying to fuck with me. Like, you're not gonna trick some like literal. Like, I'm not saying I'm an internet veteran, dude, but I've dealt with a lot of fucking idiots. Yeah.
I was gonna say, just because like I don't even have a Discord.
Interesting.
But the when I look, one of the things analytics tells you is who other channels that your subscribers are subscribed to.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a little feature I think under audience.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
it tells you
wanna see that
if there's a high enough correlation, it'll show you.
Yo, I want to see mine.
Yeah, I think there wasn't anything there for a while for me. But yeah, now there is, and it's really funny because like judging by that, a lot of my audience also is really into fighting games, which I think is funny. And this is on the main channel. And I think that's funny because I've only made a handful of fighting game videos or related or adjacent videos. Because I intentionally try not to like focus like the kinds of videos I make on like a specific topic, like too many in a row. So I've tried to like not cultivate like a super niche audience of just like one topic or one genre, but I don't know, that's what happened. Maybe it's because I use a lot of fighting game music in my videos. It's weird. It's like not intentional, but it just kind of happened, and I find that amusing. Oh hey, so there are a couple topics that I did want to go through that I had on my notes, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Because now that I'm on the subject, la-di-da-di-da. Okay, so technically, no comments, no questions from last time. However, Ryan left a really nice little write-up about his experiences with the Street Fighter 6 beta, which I unfortunately was not able to get in, although I probably would have been too busy to really try it out. So if you're curious about that, go back to the previous episode and check that out. I really liked reading what he had to say. And then, secondly, PSA, by the time this podcast goes up, Guilty Gear Xrd's Rollback Beta is going to be live. I believe it's on like the 17th or something. And there is literally never been a better time to try it out. And I say that because, well, number one, obviously the online's getting fixed. Two, they fucking they reorganized the Steam page for the game. Prox, have you ever attempted to buy Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 on Steam?
No.
Well, you've been spared from a Kafka-esque nightmare. Okay. So there's 3 versions of Guilty Gear Xrd. Because it's a fighting game, they always do multiple versions, like revisions. There's the original version, which was Guilty Gear Xrd Sign. And then there was an updated version called Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator. Revelator got an update called Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. So Sign, Revelator, Rev 2. On Steam, Sign and Revelator are separate games. Revelator and Rev 2 are technically the same game, but Rev 2 is an update to Revelator and has its own Steam page. So do you follow? Are you following? It's
Yeah.
like an upgrade. It's like an upgrade DLC.
Right.
Basically. Rev 2 came with 2 additional characters, Biken and Answer. However, they were not included in the Rev 2 update. They were separate DLC for that update. The update contained like system, like mechanical changes and stuff like that. I think some UI changes, stuff like that. But the characters were separate DLC. So the way it worked was there used to be like people would make guides for how to buy this game. You needed a guide because they had 4 different packages on the Steam page. So first of all, the first tip was do not buy Guilty Gear Xrd Sign. Do not buy that version. Second, do not buy Revelator because you can buy Revelator and not Rev 2. So they essentially sold like 4 packages. One was just, I think it was like base Revelator or Rev 2. The second one was like Rev 2 with something like Deluxe, which included something else. Like certain DLCs, and then there was like fuck, I have to like look it up because the names, which version of Xrd do I buy? Okay. There were okay. Fuck. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to find like the original names. It was a fucking nightmare because it was like one of them was the deluxe edition and then the other one was deluxe edition plus optional DLCs. But you shouldn't buy the one that has optional DLCs because you can just unlock those things in game. It was like extra colors and stuff like that. You would just want to buy the deluxe version without the optional DLCs. It was like so much text. It was a nightmare. On top of a game that's already kind of hard to understand on its own. They have finally, in preparation for the rollback update, they finally reshuffled or reorganized the way that it's listed on Steam. So all it is buy Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, which is the base game, plus without the DLC characters, so without Bike and an Answer. And Rev 2 Deluxe Edition, which is everything. I think including the additional colors. So just 2 things. Just 2 packages. Thank God. Just buy that version. Buy the Deluxe Edition. It's like $20. In fact, there is now a really cool, it's called the Rollback Retrofit Deluxe Bundle, which is all of the games that TFC, which is the team that officially modded Rollback into Plus R, BB Tag, and now Rev 2. They have all they're all packaged into a one bundle that you can buy for like $50 or $40. So check it out. That's my PSA.
Dope.
Yeah. It's been very exciting to watch fighting games hit 2013 standards in 2022. It's really cool. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I've never played a Guilty Gear game, so it's kind of hard to say.
Well, you can now purchase Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 Deluxe Edition for $20 on Steam. So it's with all new rollback netcode update, which means that it's going to be playable online for once, first time since release 10 years ago. So there's never been a better time to get in. Or you could just play Plus R, which is on sale for $3. Please play Plus R. I will never stop shilling for Plus R, my favorite fighting game of all time.
Or, for the price of that, you can buy Half-Life and Half-Life 2.
Oh, is there a sale, or is that just the...
No, that's just the base price.
Half-Life is... Half-Life's $10.
Yes, don't get Half-Life Source. Don't fucking do it.
What is Half-Life Source?
It's an incredibly... Alright, sorry, I need to go on a little rant, but
go
Half-Life
ahead.
1 is on Gold Source, which is a heavily modified version of a Quake engine, basically. And...
It was Quake 2, specifically.
I think it's... Yeah, something
it's
like that.
It's like id Tech 3, I think.
id Tech 3, yeah, that specific version of the engine. Anyway, and it's fine. Half-Life's great, epic. And then for some reason, when they were about to release Half-Life 2, they were like, why don't we show how epic the new Source engine is? And they did the laziest port of all time, putting Half-Life from Gold Source to Source. And the game is buggy as shit. It's terrible, and the water looks too realistic alongside all the, old textures. It's a very goofy port. And there's a whole video about all the things that are like broken with it. It's pretty funny, and I actually have a video that's privated on my channel of a Half-Life Source playthrough I did in 2013, and there were less bugs back then in the game.
Really?
So they're consistently breaking more stuff as they continue to, change other shit, seemingly, push out new updates for the Source engine, and which I don't think they're doing much of anymore because they're on Source 2 with Half-Life Alyx and Dota, but yeah.
The reviews, the most recent review says it's good for Gmod.
Yeah, exactly. It's only good for content with Gmod, since Gmod's a Source game. You can't put Half-Life stuff in it, but anyway. What?
Someone says, I love this because you can play it like Gmod.
Yeah, you can actually play the Half-Life Source campaign in Gary's mod, so you can just
That's wild.
Shit.
And then there's a negative review that says, literally has a visual glitch that could cause seizures.
Yeah.
Damn.
Valve,
nice.
Man. They didn't used to be, like, I don't know, I feel like people have definitely given Valve, like, the most epic company ever card for so long, but honestly, I've heard they were doing some pretty stupid shit back in the day. Like, if you simply edited certain files that weren't hacking related in Half-Life, you'd get VAC banned on servers and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard.
What do you think is the worst remake or / port, like, of all time?
Half-Life Source is up there, but it's playable and completable, so it's pretty low on the list of, like, worst. I need to think for a second.
I have one in mind.
I heard Resident Evil 3 is not, like, the best remake ever of the original Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, that's like a full remake. I was thinking more like
a port,
like a remaster port type thing, more in line of like Half-Life Source than like a Resident Evil remake type thing. Because that's just like from the ground up.
Enter the Matrix is up there. Yeah, it's got a PC port and it's not good. It's really not good. It takes all of the problems with the rest of the games and like it makes it worse. Like, I mean, the rest of the ports, that's what I meant. Because it's interesting playing all the ports of Enter the Matrix because there's some problems with that game, that port, some problems with that port. It's interesting how inconsistent it can be. Like, there's certain problems with cutscenes in the Xbox version, which is supposed to be the best version of that game. But the PC port by far is the worst. Like, I played it for like 20 minutes and I was like, this is fucking garbage. Like, I can't imagine playing this with a keyboard. It's pretty dog shit. The best part is that it fits 1920 by 1080. That's about it. That's the only thing.
The one that comes to mind for me is actually a series of 6 games. So back in 2017, to preempt at the very beginning of 2017, in fact, and this was the year that Mega Man 11 was going to come out. Everyone was like really psyched for Mega Man 11. It was like, holy shit, it's coming back. And at the beginning of the year, Capcom was like, we know you guys like Mega Man, so we're going to give you guys a little treat to get ready for it. We're going to release the first 6 Mega Man games on mobile. It's called Mega Man Mobile. They're all going to be released individually for like $1 each, which is okay, all right. And then the games come out and they don't run. Like, you know how you say something's like running? They crawl. I have it up on the Crappy Games wiki. They hover at around 10 to 15 frames per second. These are NES games running on like 2017 mobile devices.
Yeah, that's pretty pathetic. Like, the programming and the graphics in especially the first Mega Man game. I've only played the first 4, by the way, but the first Mega Man game is so, like, simple. It's insane.
It's so, yeah, it's every background's like one color. Like honestly, you know, the original like NES Mega Man games always had a bit of a like slowdown issues, just because like they just love throwing a bunch of sprites on screen. You get a little bit of stuttering and like sprite flickering, but this was like constant, like barely playable. Also, it had one of those weird bad like mobile touchscreen controllers.
Yeah,
where it's like a D-pad and for some reason 3 buttons. The here it says that it has 3 buttons, which is weird.
Well, could one of them be A, B, and then
it was like A,
start?
B, and I don't even know what the other one does. It might have just been a preset that they slapped in.
Start, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's like pause. And what's worse is that there were existing ports of, I think at least Mega Man 2 on mobile that they like delisted to replace it with this. It was just bizarre. Yeah, it was really, really bad. And apparently, they weren't emulators, because Japanese companies have this like phobia of emulators. They're like, oh my god, that's breaking the law. We're gonna be arrested instantly if we emulate a game that we own. You can't do that, even though it's like not illegal like anywhere. So they like build it from the ground up. Like the games were actually remade, and they did it like shit. They did it like garbage. And there's actually examples of ways that you could do it fine, like the Mega Man Legacy Collection, I think. Oh god,
Yeah,
it was one of the. It was no, not the Legacy Collection. It was the one that was just the first 6 games, but it wasn't the Legacy like 1 and 2. There was a different collection. So that was compiled, or that was put together by. Excuse me.
Bless.
That was put together by a team that was led by a guy named Frank Cifaldi, who is I forget exactly what his position is. He's but he works with the Video Game Preservation, the Video Game History Foundation. He's a co-director, so he's like all into game preservation and all that. And what they were gonna do is because it was like a 3-man team, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll just use an emulator. We'll just like make an emulator or whatever. And Capcom was like, you can't do that. And they're like, why? Why not? And they're like, you can't do that. They're like, it's not even a problem. Like, you own it. Like, no, it's you can't emulate hardware. Oh my god, you can't do that. So they were like, okay. So they had to come up with this like weird, like backwards ass solution where the game is essentially like there's an emulator like somewhere in there, but the actual game you're playing, it like it goes through like a filter where it gets it's like the teleporter in like Star Trek, where all the atoms get like smashed down and then reconfigured at they get spit out again at the destination. All the info is just like crunched up and then recreated, and that's technically the game that they this really obtuse, unnecessary like solution so that they weren't technically running it on an emulator, and Capcom was just a-okay with that. And as far as I know, it runs fine, but yeah, I have some other issues with that collection, but overall, yeah, it's a fairly faithful. Just stupid the way they had to do it. Obviously, the obvious classic example of a terrible port is the Silent Hill like HD Anniversary Collection. Remember that?
I've actually not really played much of Silent Hill. I think I played a little bit of Silent Hill 2 on the PS5, which was strange. Because I remember seeing the sign that was in Comic Sans, I think.
Oh, is it?
Remember that? Yeah.
I haven't played 2.
Oh, yeah, there's a sign in Silent Hill 2 that's just white text Comic Sans on a sign.
That's
like, it's
funny.
so strange.
So, well, you're at least familiar enough with Silent Hill to know that, like, it's a very, like, very, like, foggy game.
Yeah, Konami.
Like, very misty.
Horror.
Yeah. So, the fog was originally from Silent Hill 1. The first game has that. And the reason it has that is because the developers, or the team, specifically Team Silent at Konami, really wanted the idea that you were traversing a town that was like one large interconnected location that you could run around in. But the PlayStation 1 did not have the technical ability to actually render all of that. So their solution was, on top of like the town is split up into like 3 large areas, but on top of that they added this incredibly oppressive fog on top of it. So that you basically can't see anything further than 10 feet at most at any given point in the game. So that ended up working out because it was it creates this whole like fear of the unknown, like you don't know what you're running into, everything's shrouded in darkness, something just leaps out of the fog and it's freaky. It actually does a lot to add to the atmosphere, so much so that even when they didn't have those limitations to work with, unlike Silent Hill 2, for instance, and beyond, the fog was such an iconic part to the series that they just kept it, because it was just part of the identity of like the location of Silent Hill. So time passes, pretty much everyone on Team Silent ends up leaving the company because Konami's a shithole to work for. And they're like, oh, the anniversary's coming up. Let's throw together a compilation of like the first 2 games. So they handed off to not the B team, not the C team, but basically the D team at the company. Like people who did not know what the fuck was happening. And they were like, port Silent Hill 1 and 2 to like the PS3 or PS4 or whatever. And they were like, okay. So in the process of porting it, they were like, oh, this fog was like a hardware limitation. Well, we don't have that anymore, so let's just take it out. And it fucking destroys the game. Not just like because of the atmosphere, but because literally like the fog in Silent Hill 2 was partially used to like cover up like graphical flaws. Like there's a scene, there's like a infamous like side-by-side comparison of like the main character like getting into a boat. And in the original game, looks just fine. He's on like a foggy, it's just like a little rowboat. He's just on like the foggy shoreline, or hopping off the dock. In the HD collection, there's no fog. So you can see that the water is like a flat repeating texture. It looks like Minecraft water. It's so bad. It's like an infamous botch job.
Very good.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. People were really happy about it. Hey, there was something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
So, I want to catch your reaction to this, because I also learned about this today, actually, a little before we started recording. This has nothing to do with video games, and nothing really to do with YouTube or anything at all, but I felt the need to talk about it. It was recently brought to my attention via Reddit, a company called BiteLabs. Have you heard of BiteLabs, Prox?
No.
So, BiteLabs is a startup technology, or a technology sort of company. I believe they were founded sometime around 2014, and now they're ready to come out with some product, I guess. I'm just going to read from their website. So the first line: eat celebrity meat. Eat celebrity meat. BiteLabs. BiteLabs grows meat from celebrity tissue samples and uses it to make artisanal salami.
Oh god.
They proudly proclaim you've never experienced celebrities like this.
God, man, like
they have it broken down to a step-by-step process.
That is so dystopian. It kind of brings up a weird theory I've heard of, which could be true. You never know. But there's this like theory I've read or something online or heard somewhere about how there's like a reason all of these, like the deeper reason most of these like ancestry places exist that take your DNA and like, you know, of course, you know, find out your heritage and all that shit. But on top of doing that, they put as much different DNA of people as they can and store them. So later on, they can attempt to sell you back your DNA because it will be possible to like potentially have like
regrow
kind
stem cells and shit.
Yeah, like reverse like age somebody perhaps. And the only way you can do that is having DNA from when you were young, essentially.
That's a good conspiracy theory.
And I would think that theory is pretty interesting and viable if it wasn't for the human heart, and how I think it's the only reason we're not immortal is because one way or another it's like pretty much almost, from what I understand, impossible to work on the heart in a very
we got a bitch ass heart.
Yeah, and once it's dead, like other than like fucking, you know, shock meme therapy right on the spot. But so I think the theory is like it kind of has some merit. Like people are not only taking your data online but your data in real life, which is your, you know, DNA. It also brings up another theory about like companies trying to collect as much data as possible for preservation so they could potentially create an AI of someone who's dead and pretty much match their personality and maybe even look and maybe even physical body with the fucking, you know, type of DNA shit that you can pull off. It's man, yeah, you like to see it, you like to hear it.
Could you imagine the Queen coming back? Jesus Christ.
Oh no, she respawns.
In like 5 years. she had a second phase.
Yeah, she won in the gulag and made it back. Battle Royale.
We should just be like Space Marines from 40K, and they put a second heart in us. And then when the first one gives out for good, we just like take that one out and we just leapfrog with hearts.
Imagine though, like, I wish sometimes that our body was as simple as that of like a computer system, because you know, we're not that modular. Well, we are to a certain point, but of course I've thought about like cybernetics and all that stuff with like bioscience and whatnot. I'm not a major in that field. I'm just an engineer, but it is an interesting thing to think about of how like not modular we are. We sort of kind of have the bodies of a machine. Like our heart pumps out oxygenated blood and pulls in deoxygenated blood throughout our bodies and stuff, and our nervous systems work and all that shit. But then with a computer, it's just like, oh, my power supply fucking died, let me just swap it out. And whether or not that's possible with the human body is yet to be seen, I suppose.
I guess the problem is that everything's connected by blood.
Yeah.
Like
it's
if my
a very
power
preset
supply
system.
dies, if my power supply dies right now, like my hard drives and my SSD is just fine. I just need a new hard drive. Or sorry, I just need a new power supply. But like if my heart goes out, then the brain dies like really fast.
Yeah.
You can't just like put that on ice, essentially, because everything relies on blood.
Yeah, and it's just.
That's the.
Yeah, I guess I maybe shouldn't get into that, but
if you had like one choice to like make something cybernetic, which would it be? What part of your body would you make cybernetic? Including like internal organs, anything you want.
The brain.
The brain.
It's
like a computer brain?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of modifications I would do to it, and there's a lot of caveat with like, oh yeah, a company is gonna make it and they're gonna pull data straight from your brain.
Yeah.
Besides all that fucking moral shit, yeah, the brain for sure. Like potentially push new boundaries that you might have not have even known about because you don't have access to a bunch of your brain, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Without having a seizure.
And I was gonna mention earlier. I don't know if I want to get into this, but there are some like crazy ass like political conspiracies about certain politicians not being dead or like being replaced by exact clones. It's fucking
I've definitely
insane.
Seen online Hillary Clinton as a hologram. Like straight up, dude, she's made of light and like something like that. And there's like proof where she's on this like 360p television recording, and like fucking her hand moves and there's like a little like glitch around her hand, and it's like, yeah, because it's fucking like 360p and you're like zooming in super far.
Wow, she's teleporting.
Yeah, she's teleporting. So I think if I had to pick one, I would pick what would I pick? Like a cybernetic.
Telling you, man, brain is pretty epic. Like you get
brain is a good one, depending on like you could come up with some ideas.
Dude, and you can potentially have room in your brain to play guitar and play piano and pick up more hobbies. Maybe have more memory. Maybe lose less of the stuff in your brain. Maybe you'd remember more from school or from your childhood.
Yeah, or if you just had like an actually encyclopedic memory. That would be useful. Yeah,
or
maybe like a cyber.
Agent. What?
Yeah, maybe like a cyber cock. Like with like automatic piston action. Like if I just didn't have to put in any effort to beat off, I think that would be pretty cool. Like I could just sit back.
In Cyberpunk 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting cock.
I packed his dick. I mean, it's like Mr. Robot.
Take your head and I'll fuck it.
It's like in Sleeping Dogs. Not Sleeping Dogs. Watch Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is the other one. Watch Dogs, but like you hack into his cyber penis. Just starts keeling over in the middle of a meeting. He's like, oh, fuck. Fuck. No, wait, is everything okay? He's like, yep. Oh, I'm good. Oh, sorry. I was sitting. I had a head rush. I was sitting the wrong way. Sorry about that. It's like,
that's
okay.
like such a theme that you do, though. Like you've done this in my thing. Like it's just like suddenly you're just like, what if you shoot cum? Like, all right, Tigan.
It's the funniest body fluid. It is. Nothing else is funnier.
Are you sure? Like, it's
What's a funnier
weird.
Fluid? What's a funnier fluid?
Like,
than
this
cum?
isn't funny, but it's just weird to think that we consume things, and then like a large percentage of it turns into shit. Like, it's weird and gross. It's like a weird alien thing to me that it's like, oh yes, we can take all these nutrients out, suck them with our stomach, suck,
yeah,
and then we just get rid of the rest in like tubes of meat. Like that's
Well,
weird.
it's not a tube of meat. It's a tube of waste. Tube of meat?
Tube of meat, as in it's meat. Like it's your
That's not
organs.
what meat is. That's literally not what meat is.
What?
Feces is not meat.
No. I wasn't saying feces is meat.
Oh,
I'm saying
okay.
I'm not talking about the shit. The shit that's
you're
in your
talking about
body
urine.
is in
Okay.
meat sacks of
Why
organs.
is that weird? Why is that weird?
I don't
Where else
know,
is it gonna
dude.
be?
Like it's just, I guess you're right, but
Wait, you just want to sweat it out?
it's kind of the thing of like maybe
I'm not sweating out my shit, dude.
maybe sometimes nonfiction is the weirdest of all past fiction, because like just thinking of like how our bodies work is insane, like how our brains work. Like there's constantly like millions of neurons firing off to even have you understand what I'm even saying, and thinking of the like, you know, the what I'm even trying to say and all that. Like it's crazy. I just like mind fucked myself for a second there. I was trying to make a whole point, but it's just like, dude, like that is the point. Like the fact that we could understand each other in the midst of fucking chaos is amazing. I like it.
So cum is the funniest body fluid.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Could come up with another one. Blood? No. Piss? A little bit.
I still think
Yeah, you
shit
can't.
is pretty weird, and
Not weird, but like funny.
I mean, I guess in the early 2000s they thought it was funny.
That is, yeah, but they were wrong.
They were wrong.
They weren't on that cum brain.
The cum brain.
So speaking of using stem cells or cells from your body to de-age someone, how about using cells to age meat? We're back on BiteLabs, baby, because I'm not fucking done with this.
Well, right, and that's already
so-
kind of been a deal, right? Like making replacement stem
There
cell
is like the
organs.
new meat, like the what is it? Beyond Meat?
Right.
whatever.
I guess I'm more so talking about when it comes to replacing organs, like for function
Yeah.
instead of food.
This is just like muscle, basically, which is what meat basically is.
Right, and like I guess talking about this in default will piss off some amount of Christians who probably don't use the internet anyway.
Who definitely watched the Cellarcast and have gotten through the cum discussion.
Yeah,
And the cybercock.
I've been a spy for the Catholic Church this whole time.
Uh-huh.
I've been a
I always got that
spy.
kind of Vatican II energy off of you.
No, I'm like the most non-religious guy ever. Like, I can't, man. I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, I'll sympathize.
So they have their process here. In vitro meat. BiteLabs produces fine artisanal salami from meat that has been lab grown from celebrity tissue samples. In 1931, and there's a picture of Winston Churchill predicted a future in which all the world's meat would be grown in labs. What, he asked, was the sense in raising a whole chicken merely for the sake of its wings or breast meat? He wasn't on that gullet brain. Today, in vitro meat production is close to becoming a reality, offering highly controllable meat production without the animal cruelty, waste, and environmental impacts of industrial farming. But this process can offer so much more than replicas of beef and pork. So basically they have a breakdown of their process where they take these specific cells via biopsy. I don't know what that means. And then they just grow it in like a fucking vat, and then they just until it's big enough that they can package it and eat it.
Dude,
You've
they
never
needed this shit.
experienced celebrities like this.
Right.
It all starts with your favorite celebrities and a quick biopsy to obtain tissue samples.
I was gonna say that like the movie Blade could have been like not happening at all if the vampires just grew their shit like this.
Yeah.
They could have done that at the time, 1998.
Maybe
I'm
this
almost
is them.
positive.
Yeah. Maybe
that-
this is them because they they've got the next section on their website. Help get celebrities on board. Let's tell the world we want to hashtag eat celebrity meat.
Dude,
And
so
you can
fucking weird.
there's a link to tweet it out. Here's my favorite part. They have a list of 4 potential celebrities whose meat you could eat. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah, God, surely they use their permission.
The first one is James Franco.
Who the fuck is that?
James Franco?
Yeah, who the fuck? I don't know
Fuck it. You know who James Franco? If you've seen him.
No, I've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. I know James Franco. Wait, so he's on board with this shit?
No, this is people that they want to get on board.
Oh, okay.
They don't have anyone yet. They're trying to get people. They don't have. If they did, they would say it, but they haven't. So that's why they're trying to tell the world that we want to hashtag eat celebrity meat. Prox.
All right. Yeah. Got it.
So James Franco, you could be eating some James Frankfurters.
Eat some James Franco dick.
Yeah, he's sexy, he's artsy, let's make him salami. James Franco, I think, was also accused of, like, grooming a minor, so that's pretty funny. I want you to keep that in mind.
Wait, whoa, what? Wait, repeat that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hang on, he did something like that. It was, like, he's not allowed. He's not allowed, he deleted everything. He's like, this sexual misconduct, accusations, and lawsuit. He was sexting a 17-year-old girl when he was 35. Tried to fuck her. Yada yada. 5 women accused Franco of inappropriate or sexually exploitative behavior during the period when he was acting as their acting teacher or mentor. Let's see. Yeah. So in light of that, he's sexy, he's artsy. Let's make him salami. The Franco salami must be smoky, sexy, and smooth. Franco's meat will pair with lean, strong venison. Sharp Telecherry peppercorns and caramelized onions provide Franco's underlying flavors, complemented by a charming hint of lavender. That's what you smell in your drink. The Franco salami's taste will be arrogant, distinctive, and completely undeniable. I want my meat to taste arrogant. When I bite into some salami. Second one, Jennifer Lawrence.
I know
a different type of Hunger Game.
These fucking dicks, man. Like, what? These people are human for real?
The J-Law salami will be complemented by a mixture of rabbit and pork.
Dude, like, what the fuck? I've heard that. Okay, I've heard this because there's like an account of it, right? But there's a guy who like ate a guy, right? With his permission or whatever, and said that it basically tastes like pork.
Probably depends on which part of the body you're eating.
Right, and I've heard that I think there's some parts of the body you just cannot eat, like the brain. Like, you cannot. I don't think that's possible. Like, I've heard.
Eating brains is like it's your fast track to getting prion disease. Do not eat brains. Please, especially of your own species. Yeah. You're familiar with prion disease?
No, actually.
Prions are like a type of protein in your body, and prion disease is, have you ever heard of mad cow disease?
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics, but yeah.
It was basically through a chain of people eating animal brains. Basically, there was a prion disease is when the prion proteins in your brain just start unfolding and getting fucked up. So it has a bunch of horrific effects. It's also, if you're familiar with chronic wasting disease, basically, like, if you've ever seen a freaky-ass video of, like, an animal ramming its head into a rock until its head explodes, that's chronic wasting disease. It's like a fucking zombie infection. Like, literally. It's horrifying. Do not eat brains. It's, like, a fast way to get that.
Yeah, that's That's terrifying.
Would you like to hear the third celebrity that they've suggested?
Sure, why not?
Kanye West.
Okay.
Always push the boundaries in taste. This is really funny after his thing about the Jews.
Wait, what?
You heard about this?
No.
Because yeah, you see, you're out of the loop. So you got to hang on. Kanye West, This was very recent. Kanye West. Let's see. Fucking show me the tweets. So the other day he just yeah, okay. He just tweeted, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. Like,
dude, he's literally
actual fucking, like, this is actually, like, if you've ever just, sometimes I'll just read people who are, like, actually schizophrenic, like their Twitter or something. This is, like, 100% that. This is, like, dude, not even, he's good, not DEFCON, DEathCon 3. Dude, when Kanye West wakes up from his little nappy nap, he's declaring war on Jewish people. All of them. So he was immediately banned off of Twitter. Which makes this description even funnier. Always push the boundaries in taste. The Kanye salami will pull no punches.
Yeah.
Heavy and boldly flavored. Pure Kanye West meat will blend with rich, coarse ground pork. Hungarian paprika and Worcestershire give Kanye an underlying smokiness, spiced up with hints of jalapeno. The Kanye salami is best paired with strong, straight bourbon. They do not include whether or not the Kanye West salami is kosher, which I think is important to distinguish given recent events. Pure Kanye West meat.
Oh man, what the fuck, dude?
And the final one. Would you like to know the final celebrity?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Ellen DeGeneres.
But why?
They picked the worst people. Besides, I guess, Jennifer Lawrence, they went with James Franco, Kanye West, and Ellen DeGeneres. You picked the worst. Like, what, Harvey Weinstein? Is that the next one you're gonna pick? Fucking, like, Mel Gibson? Like, what the fuck?
Mel Gibson.
The pure Mel Gibson meat. So, Ellen DeGeneres. And their the subheader is, please welcome the Ellen Salami. As a salami, we see Ellen Salami composition blended with ostrich. Which is probably the number one thing I think of when I think of Ellen DeGeneres.
Ostrich.
Yeah, ostrich. Black pepper and garlic with a playful kick of mustard give the Ellen Salami a highly approachable and well-rounded flavor. A hint of brandy and shallots will finish off the Ellen Salami in exquisite fashion. Tweet, and then each one of these has a link under it. Tweet at James Franco and help make the Franco salami real. And if I click on it, it opens up a pop-up so I can, tweet out a pre-made tweet. James Franco, will you be salami? Yeah, so it's eco-friendly and it's healthy. No growth hormones. So even though what? Is that not no growth hormones?
What do you think about that?
I think I love this idea. Me personally, I love this.
You would eat Ellen DeGeneres meat?
I would actually go a step beyond, which is why I am calling all listeners of the Cellarcast podcast, the #1 podcast in the world, to tweet at BiteLabs. At, what the fuck is their... To tweet... Wait, their Twitter link... They have a Twitter at the bottom, like a little Twitter icon. It doesn't even go to their Twitter. It goes to like the homepage. Anyway, tweet at BiteLabs Co. Make the Cellar Salami a reality. I want you to eat me. I want you to eat my meat. The Cellar Lami, the Tigan Moon Salami. The last time they tweeted was in 2014. So I think that we've got a good chance of reviving the project and making this a reality. I think if we put our heads together, you can one day cannibalize me.
I thought when you said I was going to go a step further earlier, I thought you were going to say, like, I'm going to go for the original.
No, except no imitations.
Yeah, oh my god,
yeah.
man. Lab-grown meat is an interesting idea. Like, I think that we need to start thinking about that with, you know, fucking pollution and potentially running out of fucking space on the Earth and, you know, overgrowth of people and all that. But I'm not completely against it, but it's just it's kind of disturbing, I don't know, to think of eating like lab-grown
eating a person
meat.
Eating J-Law.
Yeah,
eating J-Law meat.
Yeah, eating Kanye West meat.
Yeah, pure Kanye meat.
Yeah, pure DEFCON 3.
DEFCON 3.
Oh my god.
Is it kosher?
Why the fuck? Well, I know why, but like the fact that like Christians and some Jews fucking hate each other, it's so funny. But
that's funny. I don't even think Kanye is Christian. I think I just saw he started like his own like cult academy. Like he has like a compound now.
Oh, so
dude's going nuts.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's going off. It's called like Donda Academy.
Bro, oh my god, man, this is what happens when people have like too much time and money. Like they just
I think it's what happens when you have. It's when you have too much time, too much money, and you don't take your meds. When you allow your manic depression to mix with like a million conspiracy theories. Like the whole like black people are actually the real Jews thing. That's like 100%. Like he's been reading some shit.
Yeah, if he meant figuratively.
No, I don't think so, dude. I doubt it.
I mean, even if it is like figuratively, it's still a very weird comparison. Like it's not really correct. It's
yeah, exactly. But of course, there's like, oh, if you some like BS, whatever, like Africans are really the Hebrews, or something like that. This is like that. I forget what the fucking. You know that whole like conspiracy theory about like the melanoids?
No.
Do you know any of this? I forget what the fuck. If I just knew what the central like character's name in this, I could just search it up. But there was this like conspiracy theory that real history, that like all history was made up by white people, and the real backstory of the human race is that everyone lived in harmony under like a single black ruler who had like a giant brain. He had like a large like Mars Attacks cranium. And then the white people were actually the slaves. And then they rose up. We rose up and overtook the peaceful leader and plunged the world into chaos and war. And black people, they were kings. They were kings.
Yeah, that
I just
sounds
search up,
so
like-
schizophrenic. Like, in this peaceful world with this black ruler and white slaves, like that statement just...
Yeah, from the from the Anti-Defamation League. We
Oh,
was
God.
kings.
Anti-Defamation
We
League.
was kings and shit.
Dude, I'm so...
Is a racist catchphrase and collection of memes directed at African Americans and other people of sub-Saharan African descent. Originating in 2015 and popularized by the website 4chan, the phrase is a racist shorthand reference to discredited but popular Afrocentric theories that claim sub-Saharan Africans were descended from ancient Egyptians. Yeah, that's the theory. That's the Kanye thing. That's what he's talking about. Yeah.
Man, I just... The Anti-Defamation League sounds like a fucking huge meme. Like, I remember...
They have memes on here.
I know, yeah. Like, and I've looked, and...
They have all the racist memes.
The Vinland flag is on there. And
Vinland?
Vinland.
Wasn't that just Finland?
Vinland, as in like one N, you know, Vin and then Land, is a flag made by Typo Negative, that band that I mentioned. By Peter Steele, and it's literally just a black cross and green on it, and all it means, it's like a fictional meme that Peter Steele made up because he wanted to represent his like. I think it was like a Transylvanian culture or like German culture, something like that. Some like European culture
I'm seeing
thing.
it, yeah.
And I guess anti-Semites took it and made it like a fucking hate symbol or something, which is annoying.
That's
as
a
shit.
cool flag.
It is a
That's
cool
some
flag.
nice colors.
But if you post it around, like I almost wanted to comment on it when I make a video on Typo Negative, but I almost think that it's gonna just fucking piss people off, like. Because it's like, oh, it means like this and that. Like, shut up, man. Like, it's not like PayPay. Like, it is like PayPay in a way. It's like a normal ass thing, meme or whatever. And then for some reason, you know, publications gravitate toward like racism. Oh, it's racist. Oh, and then like fucking fly at it like it's a fucking meteorite about to strike a planet, and you know, make it a whole fucking movement. Anyway, yeah. I hate it.
What is Crazy White Boy?
Crazy White Boy?
Yeah, on the side, they got Crazy White Boy. The term Crazy White Boy, as well as its initials CWB, is a phrase used generically by some white supremacists, often in tattoo form, to identify themselves. It is also commonly used as a name for white gangs. There have been a number of Crazy White Boy gangs in different places. In addition to the initials CWB, some may use the term C-dub or C-dubs to refer to Crazy White Boy. The dub stands for W. That's so funny. I want to start like a counter movement. That's the GWB, the Goofy White Boy movement.
Yeah,
I want
to co-host
like
that.
The slightly,
goofy,
slightly modified curse like C to the G.
Slightly
shout
silly
out
and goofy white boys.
Leave a comment below if you're a goofy white boy. If you're straight GWB.
Silly even, or perhaps
yeah,
funny.
silly. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that was Meat, the celebrity Meat.
And then it turned into talking about Kanye and then his crazy shit, and then apparently racist meme lords using memes out of context, like the Vinland flag, which, Vinland is not a real place. It's just a meme.
It does have its own saga.
Oh, yeah, Vinland, I think it does have a song, and it has a song...
No, it's a saga. There's an anime. There's like a classic manga called Vinland Saga.
Really?
It's called Vinland Saga. Yeah, Vinland Saga. It's like a classic historical Viking manga. As far as I'm aware.
Interesting.
Yeah, apparently it's really good. Got an anime somewhat recently. Don't know if that had anything. I think probably predates the band, but yeah. I mean, I'm assuming they took it from the name, from the the name of the, just I don't know, historical origin of the word.
Interesting. So, speaking of that, like Vinland and Peter Steele, he actually from Typo Negative, he has his own language, his own Scandinavian language that's like a weird mix between like 4 or 5 different European languages, and he says he uses it in some songs and it's never been decoded. He never even told what his bandmates what it meant. So like there's certain sentiments in his songs that are not decoded and might never be decoded because it's in like his own language.
It's interesting.
Apparently.
And he's never like written it down or like put it down in writing or something.
Apparently
not to like translate it, but just because you can do that with like cross-referencing languages or something like that. Or that's how like there's you know like intelligence agencies that decode like code languages and stuff like that with just taking a bunch of samples and there's some advanced way of doing that, but yeah,
for sure. And they have the last thing I wanted to mention about this was I wanted to bring up a song that they made that's a very funny ass title. It's probably the funniest title for a track that I've ever seen. It's called, I can't even like view the title because it's so long. Okay, here it is. Here's some Vinland lore. They made a song on their 1996 album called The Glorious Liberation of the People's Technocratic Republic of Vinland by the Combined Forces of the United Territories of Europa.
Oh, that's good. That's yeah, I love that. That doesn't I'm a big Modest Mouse fan. If you're familiar with their music.
I've heard of them, but I've never heard their songs.
Their first album is called This Is a Long Drive for Someone with Nothing to Think About, which is a great name. And then I also very much enjoy an artist called Silver Mount Zion. That's like the shortest version of their name. They have like a bunch of different names. I think the longest version of their name that they ever put out anything under was like THEE, the Silver Mount Zion Memorial Band, and the like I forget like what the fuck. Hang on. Search up like names. The Silver Mount Zion Memorial Orchestra and Tralala Band was, I think, the longest version of their name they ever published anything under.
Nice.
And all of their music, well, not all of it, but a lot of it just has silly long titles, which I love.
I'm a big fan of those meme tracks. Like, obviously, that one that I mentioned is a meme. Like, they're making fun of... It's kind of funny, the songs that are supposed to be, like, their most popular goth songs and stuff, they're making fun of goths the whole time, and goths like
That's
it.
good.
Like, it's...
Yeah, because you gotta... I think you need to have a healthy self-image.
Oh, yeah, they didn't take themselves seriously, like, ever.
Yeah.
They always were self-deprecating.
That reminds me of, you remember Mr. Black Darkness 666?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. His character was just a goth guy who took himself way too seriously and would always cry about being bullied.
And that was a caricature?
Yeah, it was 100% a character. He was, like, fucking with people.
That's so funny, because that means he, like, totally outsmarted Leafy. Like,
yeah, that's what's so funny. Because, like, you look at, like, if you watch, like, some of the videos he made, like, there's clearly, like, he's walking through his town or whatever, like, crying, and then, like, some kids yell at him, and they call him, like, names or something. And he's like, stop, you don't even know. You don't even stop being so mean to me. And there's, like, he's, like, in an alleyway, and just like crying into his camera, and then there's just a fucking like there's the video ends with, it's either like I think it's like a kid, and he's just like, why are you such a fucking weirdo? And he's like, oh, shut up. Just walks, like, sneaks into the frame. So funny. Like every single video ends with him going like he goes with like, I'm Mr. Black Darkness, time to make it black, and then he puts his hand over the camera. Like it's the whole thing is that he takes himself way too seriously, and then Leafy didn't get the joke, and like when people told him that he was like missing the joke, he made a follow-up video that was like, guys, I know I've watched some more of his videos, and there is nothing that I can see that would even imply that this guy is like not serious.
Literally.
Like he doubled down on the literally. Like he doubled down on taking it seriously, and he looked so I think that they went on like Drama Alert, and Mr. Black Darkness was just like, because he like put a curse on him or something.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
And he's like, okay, Leafy, I forgive you. And then Keemstar is like, oh, so is the curse lifted? And he's like, well, no, I'd have to cast a counter spell. And Keemstar loses his shit. Yeah. And it's so fucking funny. And Leafy never got the joke. He never got it.
Yeah, Leafy's really fucking dense. Like, it's pretty obvious, and it's so funny. Like, Mark and I would absolutely love like to talk to that guy, because we're big fans of like basically these characters that never really reveal their true intentions and stuff. And it's like Nathan For You. I don't know if you know that show.
Oh yeah, I love Nathan For You. Well, I haven't watched enough of it, but I've seen enough of it that I'm like, this is good. This is my thing. Yeah,
because like Nathan Fielder as a person in real life, it's very, very difficult to know if he's in character or not. Like, it's extraordinarily difficult to know if you're actually talking to him for real. Like, it's sort of a weird meta thing. And anyway, it's pretty cool.
That's actually, you say that, that's one of my favorite things about Norm Macdonald.
I don't know him.
He's my favorite comedian. He died very tragically, oh god, a year ago, maybe a little more. He had cancer. He didn't tell anyone. So he died really suddenly. He only like his immediate family and like people who needed to know knew. But he passed away. But at like 67, he was on like Saturday Night Live in the 90s, I think. He did like Weekend Update. That's where a lot of people knew him from. He was also in Billy Madison. He's one of Adam Sandler's like friends. Just to give a frame of reference, but Norm Macdonald's whole thing was that he was always kind of fucking with you. Like, he played this character that he was like kind of an idiot or kind of a dope, but he would also I love him as like a performer. Like, I think he's so interesting to watch because he has this incredible sense for like when to like really lay it on and when to like not, and when to be like really blunt and when to kind of like lead the audience to a punchline. But he would like, one of my favorite bits of his that he ever did was the roast of Bob Saget, which is so I mean, you're familiar with the basic kind of like the roast of format. You know, there's like all the people on the stage and one person gets up and they kind of work the other guests and then the main person, right?
No, yeah, I'm aware. I think the last one I watched, I don't remember which celebrity it was, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so he gets up and apparently what... Okay, well, I'll say what happened before the backstory. So basically, he gets up and he starts telling the worst jokes you've ever heard. He gets up and he's like, he's like, yeah, so and so is a dedicated vegan, which I think is very appropriate because she has a cabbage head. And then he just kind of stares at the audience, and like no one's really laughing, and he just has this weird kind of look on his face, like he does, like it looks like he doesn't know what's going on, and he's just like, oh, Bob, he has the heart of an eagle, the wisdom of an owl, you could call him a bird brain, and then he just stares.
Yeah, I just
like he's just. He's like, it's like he's bombing, basically. It's like a meta joke that he's going up and he's having the worst night of his life as a comedian. And he's doing it intentionally. And fucking, like, they cut to Gilbert Godfrey, and Gilbert Godfrey, like, can't breathe. He's laughing so hard.
That's so
he's like, what the fuck? And then apparently the backstory to that was that, because he was known for, like, he could be, like, one of Norm's things is that he could really catch you off guard. Where he'll just be talking about something normally, and then he'll just hit you with, like, the most vile shit you've ever heard. Like, ever. Like, completely unexpected. And so he was known for, like, oh yeah, he has some kind of blue kind of vulgar comedy. So they were like, so the producers were like, hey Norm, get some, like, really go as hard as you can, like, really go hard on this roast, like, it'll be great. And he was like, okay. And all of his jokes he got from, like, it was a book that I think his dad gave him, and it was like a 1940s joke book that was meant for retirement homes. He was reading jokes that were meant for people who were to be funny to people who were born in, like, the 1850s. In, like, 1997 or whatever. And yeah, it was just, like, every time. Oh, there's a great, actually, like, way back in, like, 2013 or something, YouTube did some kind of convention, like create, like, when being a YouTuber started to be, like, an industry or something. And it was like this big award show or something that they did, and they invited, like, some, like, YouTube comedians, and then randomly Norm Macdonald, and everyone's, like, dressed up, and he's there in, like a college sweatshirt and, like, sweatpants, and he's just fucking with everyone the whole time. Like, every time it cuts to them, he's like, oh, the stars are here. Just like an idiot. And they do, like, an interview with the Lonely Island, and he starts messing with them like usual, and then what's the main guy from Lonely Island called?
Or is it Lonely
Adam?
Island? I have no idea.
Yeah, like
I don't remember his name either.
Adam Friedberg, I think, is his name, the main guy.
Oh, it is.
And, like, he starts, like, playing into it. Like, Norm starts making a joke about, like, going back in time to Hitler and, like, trying to kill him, but then being, like, put under the spell of his beautiful blue eyes. And he's, like, trying to freak people out. And then Adam Friedberg is like, yeah, you know, you might start talking to him, and then you're like, maybe there's something to this guy. It's like, he's so gleeful. Norm is so gleeful on his face to, like, find someone who is, like, equally ready to fuck with everyone. And the other two hosts are just constantly trying to, like, divert from him. It's so funny. His whole thing was like, because he would just intersperse, like, this really genuine moments into, like, his comedy, talking about, like, his life or, like, his family or something, and then he would end it with, like, I wouldn't suck my mom's tits, not at all, I would never do that. I don't know, I find him I've watched so much of his material, and, like, he used to do this podcast that was fucking great, where he just had a bunch of, like, comedians and, like, actors on, and he was just fucking with them the whole time. It's so good. It's like an extended, if I can give an endorsement to the go watch the Norm Macdonald live, if you can find it. It's like the Eric Andre show, but with less destruction, but also for, like, an hour, like an extended version of that kind of energy. Yeah. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh, racism. Yeah. Hey, speaking of racism and Vinland Saga, the anime, what'd you think of Bleach?
Oh man, racism and Vinland and Bleach now? Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm kind of blown away at the animation, first of all, and how quick everything is. Like, so much fucking shit goes
Do
down.
Do you wanna quickly intro people to what we're talking about?
So, spoiler alert, of course, we're talking about the anime Bleach, not the fucking cleaning product.
Yes.
Which apparently Taigen has informed me that it's called Bleach because it's a sort of, I guess, a euphemism for the white robes that...
Well, no, it's the backstory is he wanted to call it black because they wear black robes, but he thought that was too generic, so he changed it to white, and then he thought that was too generic, so he changed it to bleach because it's like it evokes the idea of whiting something out.
Right.
That's the backstory.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Okay, fine. Whatever.
It's dumb. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the anime Bleach, we've already talked about this in the past couple podcasts I was on, but it's an anime that was really popular starting in 2004. I don't know when the manga was made, probably like
I think 2000. Yeah, 2001, 2002, something like that.
Yeah, anyway. And we were talking about the events. I've of course finished Bleach now, like the anime, and I've caught up with the 1,000-Year Blood War. I even watched the filler for the Invading Army arc, which was surprisingly entertaining. It was probably the best filler arc in the show.
The Zanpakuto Rebellion?
I mean, Zanpakuto Rebellion is definitely a close second because it has really interesting sort of non-canon to it. But
which one is the... Invading Army is the one right before the Fullbringer arc,
yes,
right?
It's the last one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I never watched that. I picked up the manga, like, halfway through the, like, Hueco Mundo arc, so I just skipped, like, all the filler.
Yeah, it's probably the best filler. It's, like, really well animated with a lot of cool fights and shit. Like, I'm honestly pleasantly surprised at how much better the pacing is compared to literally the last anime arc, Fullbringer. That the pacing for that was very strange.
I haven't seen the anime, but I haven't seen the anime version of the Fullbring, but I liked it in the manga because it felt like it was intentionally slowing things. It was like a big reset button, which I appreciated a lot.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that in the anime as well, but it's just after that it gets really fucking weird, I guess.
Yeah. It was confirmed to be rushed because it was so unpopular with the target demographic of 14-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, what?
The editor was like, you gotta speed this shit up. So there's like a bunch of shit that you could clearly see he was setting up for that just kind of gets glossed over, and it's not like plot crucial, like he worked around it, but it's like, oh, there really should have been a moment where like Chad and Ichigo like had a fight or something, and like Chad gets some actual fucking spotlight and development. Like that's all he needs, just have like one cool fight to like expand on his character, because like it's the fucking Fullbring arc and Chad is like retconned into being a Fullbringer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, now we get something focused on him. No, because the 14-year-olds didn't like it. God, I hate it. I hate Shonen Jump.
Yeah, god damn it. And that's kind of an interesting point too. Like I always thought that Bleach kind of had this Invader Zim effect where it was targeted. Let me explain. So I think Invader Zim, I'm very positive, was gauged towards like young teenagers for Nick or whatever.
Yeah,
and it didn't happen. Like it was more popular with like older teenagers, if not young adults. And
kids got freaked the fuck out by that show.
Yeah,
except for
stealing
me.
organs.
I love that show.
I loved it too.
I love that show. Yeah, I love that episode.
Anyway, I guess to answer your question of what we're talking about, like to the audience, it's like Bleach has a very rocky history, especially with the fucking anime. Holy shit, there's so much filler and shit, but basically it goes like, Ichigo starting off with stuff, and then, it's a Soul Society arc, and then saving Rukia, and then the Arankars from Aizen show up, blah, blah, blah. Hueco Mundo arc, Fullbringer arc, and now here we are, 10 years, 11 or 12 years after the last anime episode aired.
And it's back.
Yeah, we're getting the 1,000-Year Blood War, which I believe is the final arc.
Yeah, a little bit more context. Bleach The big problem that Bleach had was a problem that a lot of anime run into, or used to, because they used to just fucking run and run and run, and they wouldn't do like big seasonal breaks like they kind of do now. So the manga, they ran into that same problem that a lot of these kind of shonen weekly manga do, which is where the anime starts running into the manga, and they're running out of story to adapt. So they're like, shit, throw in some filler nonsense that doesn't mean anything, and we'll just stall until the manga's far enough ahead that we can just go ahead. Bleach got that really hard, which is bad, because Bleach is a series that, at its best, really thrives off of like momentum and just like moving and moving and moving and moving, like the Soul Society arc, which is just fucking go 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 go, and you're learning all this shit, and you're meeting all these cool characters, and there's some sick ass fights, and you're like, this is so badass. And then right after that, there's like this crazy finale to that arc, and then you hit this fucking wall. It's like, and you're just splat on it, and it's the Bount arc, one of the worst filler arcs ever. Just nothing happens. Just it's like 2 seasons. It's like 2 seasons of filler. And then it hurts even worse, because right after the Soul Society, there's like a little bit of like a lull, like a natural, like, oh, we just had this big climax. Now we're gonna slow down a little bit, and we're gonna start building stuff up. We're it slows down and starts ramping up into the next arc. But when you have like 2 seasons of death into that, it's like, it loses so much momentum. So it had this problem continuously, which was also not helped by even the manga itself has some pacing issues where stuff gets really fucking bloated in the middle, with the big Arankar Hueco Mundo arc being like very bloated, like very much extended, because it introduced a lot of really popular characters that the editors really wanted more of. So eventually it hit this point where at the end of that arc, there is another like big reset, which is like the Fullbringer arc. Fullbringer arc is like, okay, we're going to refresh the story, it got too fucking big. We're going to bring it down to like the street level again. We're just going to chill out. That came after another 2 consecutive seasons of filler. So at that point, after the Fullbringer arc was done being animated, they just basically mercy killed the series. It wasn't canceled. It was just mercy killed. They didn't renew it. They were like, let it be. The manga continued, I think, from like 2012 to 2016. There was another 4 years of it running. And that is called the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, which I enjoyed a lot when I went and read it. So for like the last 10 years, the anime's been gone, and the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, which concluded, I think, in 2016, has never been animated until now. And it was always kind of an inevitability that, like, when you looked at the numbers, I saw this statistic. This was true at least back in like 2019. Bleach, when it was quote-unquote like in its bad era of sales, was still selling more than Black Clover was selling in 2019. Which, if you don't know, Black Clover was like one of the big Shonen Jump battle manga that they were pushing like really hard. So like if you look at the money, it's like it's just kind of an inevitability. Like they have to bring it back at some point. There's too much money to be made to not do it. But it was always this kind of like when is it going to happen? And finally, I forget how long ago it was, like a year ago, something like that, when they announced that it was coming back. And the 1,000-Year Blood War was going to be animated. And finally, we are at the point where the first episode has dropped. So that's where we are.
Right, and I feel like a lot of its problems are gone. Like, I feel like it doesn't have the burden of, like, fucking TV pacing bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Because yeah. Do you also want to talk about that, or should I explain?
Basically, I guess from my take, real quick, what happens is at the very worst of the show, in my opinion, there's like two things that fucking happen in the episode. It's like one thing happens right before the cliffhanger at the intermission, which is supposed to be commercials, and then one thing happens to cliffhang the viewer into watching the next episode next week on Toonami or something. And it, even back then when we didn't have the luxury of streaming services and like viewing all the shit whenever we wanted, unless you were like really into computers and like piracy back then, I guess. It really pissed me off. Like, it was like, dude, barely anything fucking happened and yada yada. But the fucking first episode of the 1,000-Year Blood War anime, like, I've never read the manga, and I've only heard a lot about it, but like, I've learned a shitload just from like that first episode, and they hold no punches.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's I haven't read the manga since like 2017, so I can't. My memory isn't perfect on like how much they're adapting per episode, but that is, I want to say, the first 2, maybe 3 chapters of the Blood War arc is covered in the anime, and it's paced wonderfully. One thing that you actually didn't mention is that about TV pacing, quote unquote, is at its worst, on top of like that really obnoxious structure with the cliffhangers, you get 5-minute episode recaps.
Yes.
At the beginning of each episode, and the rest of the episode is long panning shots.
Yes.
Long panning shot, and it's to the point where like, technically, this is the manga that's being. It's not filler. The episode technically isn't filler. All the things that happen in the manga, but there is all these filler like elements added in to just stretch the runtime to like, can we get one chapter into one episode?
Yes, dude. I was gonna mention that too. I forgot.
I've actually thought about this, about like doing this as like a side project. It would take forever, but there is a fan cut of Naruto. It's a fan edit of Naruto.
I was just fucking thinking about that. Maybe a fan cut of Bleach.
Where, so this Naruto, what it does is it basically takes the anime and the manga. So first of all, none of the filler arcs or filler episodes in the anime. It takes all those out. It breaks it up into the arcs. So like this arc, that arc A, B, and C. And it basically packages them as like movies of whatever length. It's like 2-3 hours. And the anime is re-edited so that it is a 1-to-1 with the manga, taking out all the fucking panning shots, taking out all the recaps. So it's not just like a playlist. It's literally like, this is like a panel-to-panel, panel-to-screen recreation of the original manga. And it's just like, you just watch the arc like that. And from what I've heard, it's a much superior viewing experience. And I've thought about doing that with Bleach, because I think it would help a lot. Not for the, to get back on track. Not an issue with the Blood War. At least the first episode, and I doubt going ahead it will be.
Yeah. I'm not gonna
because
lie.
Unless
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, I almost figured they would have done more of like a recap episode of like everything that's happened before the 1,000-Year Blood War to maybe catch people up, but I think they probably know that like the people that are most likely going to watch it are people who have like kept up with the series or something, and they're not people. We especially fucking hate recaps. We've seen them so many goddamn times at this point.
They actually do that. They do that in the ending.
Yeah.
The special ending, which I'm assuming is a one-off.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
It's like a little music video that's just a recap of the entire series minus filler.
Yeah, oh my god.
Which is really neat. Plus credits and stuff like that.
Jesus, I was talking about this with my friend and I, like, really into Bleach and stuff, and I always say, like, every time they do that, when they do like a recap of the whole series in like a music video or something, I always feel like the point between the beginning and the middle of the Waco Mundo arc feels like there's a shitload missing, but that's because like they removed all the filler.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched through everything. Every fucking episode of Bleach I've watched. All the filler, and it's like... I probably can make a tier list of the filler of Bleach, and the Invading Army arc is probably the best filler arc, next to the Zanpakuto arc. Which, it's kind of weird, because the Zanpakuto arc is great in concept, but the execution with the Muramasa story sucks dick. Like, I couldn't care less about Muramasa. I just want to know more about the Zanpakutos of, like, you know, like... Rangiku, Byakuya, especially like Kenpachi too. Like it's sort of a weird story behind his Zanpakuto that's always in released form.
Wait, does Kenpachi have like a Zanpakuto spirit in that?
I forgot what the story is with Kenpachi. Either like he sealed it, or it just doesn't ever talk to him. Like it's always in Shikai apparently.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a Bankai.
So you. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking, because
it's probably revealed later on.
It comes up. Yeah. Let's say in the Blood War, it comes up. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. If it was the episode or something else, but yeah. I appreciated how condensed the first episode was. Yes. It almost feels like a soft kind of like reintroduction to the story, with like the two new like Soul Reapers kind of getting assigned to Karakura, and they get kind of overwhelmed, and then Ichigo shows up. That scene is fucking goofy.
It is.
That scene is goofy.
Dude,
I was like, oh, this is cool, and then Chad like punches a hollow into a building and kills like 100 people, and I'm like, what the what the fuck?
I love that.
What?
It's so fucking funny.
It makes no sense. And like
Bankai on hollows.
Yeah, and like there's a giant explosion on top. It's like people live there. Ichigo. What the fuck? This is like the counter to everything. I don't remember if it's exactly like that in the manga, but like back in you could do this back in like the fake Karakura town arc, because it was literally a fake city, like a fake recreation, which was just that was why. Excuse me. That was why they did that, because Kubo didn't want to have them fucking like nuking an entire like city.
Right.
But he wanted the cool aesthetic of having all these crazy supernatural fuckers flying around and punching each other in like an urban environment.
Oh, dude.
But now it's just real. Also, the fact that there's like 1,000 hollows for some reason out on that night.
Right. It's so like it's dramatic. Definitely.
It's definitely like it's dumb. I'm like, okay, this is just to reestablish the characters and show that they're cool
and that they're upgraded too, because Orihime can now apparently damage hollows.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember.
She is Orihime has like that shonen like female character problem, where like she just gets no fucking time.
Yeah, just,
to do anything.
There's a huge meme on Twitter about like Ichi Hime like ships being like super dumb, and like Ichigo should have been with Rukia instead of
I was reading about that, because like the problem is that like in real life romance is usually just like a very strong relationship that's like level 3. Like it's past like the romance barrier, which takes like a lot of time. You basically, if you're writing like a romance, you have to like establish that they like each other first. And like they kind of do, but Kubo does it way harder with Ichigo and Rukia, and I don't know if that was intentional. Like there's all these bits in the manga where like Ichigo thinks about like all the people he has to protect, and like the first one is like Rukia, and like, you're like, oh, that makes total sense that he like cares about her and that he would like her, maybe even romantically. Like the scene, I actually really love the scene where after Soul Society, when all the other like Soul Society people show up to like hang out in the human world, and Ichigo and Rukia like reunite for the first time since then.
Yeah.
And she's like standing in the window. That's such a nice scene. Yeah. And he's like, oh my god, it's Rukia! Yeah, he's like so genuinely happy. It's like a really nice scene.
Yeah.
Like a perfect foundation for a romance, but no.
Or the scene where he loses his power, and
Yeah.
Rukia like is all sad and disappears and shit, and it's like, dude, like.
Yeah, like they had like he's disappearing, like he can't see her anymore. Oh my god! It's like no, they were just friends.
Like yeah, it's so fucking like stupid. Like.
Yeah.
I believe in the Ichigo and Rukia romance like way over the Ichigo Orihime one. I feel like Kubo just has like a fucking boner for Orihime or something. Like, especially with what
he
her
does.
clothes.
You'll see.
Yeah,
You'll
I
see.
know. I fucking know. I've seen the pictures. Like, how the fuck is he gonna explain that in the anime? I really want to know. Like.
Oh, the explanation is that Kisuke made that.
He fucking would.
No, the explanation is fucking Urahara makes that outfit.
He would do that. Like he's.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's. Yeah. Yeah. I actually don't want. I don't think Ichigo and Rukia should date because Rukia should date me. In real life, dude. I fucking love. I can't wait till she shows up in the anime because I think the voice cast was the same.
Yeah, I can't wait either. She's my favorite character. Like,
but yeah, I love her voice actress. I love her Japanese voice actress. Her voice is so fucking hot to me.
And it's so
get
funny
incredibly horny for a second.
Because,
but like
5 times in the show, they like get Rukia in a position where she's being like crushed by some big dude's hand, and she's making all these like fucking moaning noises. And it's like, there's no way Kubo did that on accident. There's no way. He knew what he was doing. Like, I refuse to believe it. Like, this keeps happening to only Rukia.
Does it? I don't even remember. Is that when the fucking tentacle guy shows up? The little tentacle twink? What was his name? Lummy or something?
Lammy? I don't know, but in the Hell movie, like the 4th Hell movie or whatever, it happens,
Well, that wasn't Kubo. He didn't write that.
Zero does that to her.
Espada Zero.
Yeah, the big fat guy.
Yeah, Yami. Okay, Yami or whatever.
He crushes her like that. Doesn't kill her, only crushes her enough to make all those noises for hentai artists to use. And it happens more in the show, I remember, but because when I saw Yami doing that, I was like, there is no way! Like, I just watched the 4th movie and it happened.
It's so funny. Does that happen in the beach episode?
I would imagine it probably does.
Because that has a tentacle segment.
Yeah, it does, and like fucking Orihime gets melon juice on her fucking tits.
She does.
Check it out, Ichigo. I got melon juice on my titties, my big anime titties.
I actually unironically really like the Bleach at the Beach episode.
I do
and
too,
it's not,
because it's retarded. Like, it's totally stupid.
I like it because it's so rare that you get to see all these characters just hanging out casually.
Right.
And it's like fun. Just as like a one-off, it's pretty fun. Like some of my favorite just like pieces of imagery are like the endings. All of the endings where like the characters are just in like hanging out in the human world in like casual clothes are so fucking cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah,
I like the openings where they have like casual clothes and shit.
Yeah, I love, like, that's super, I don't know, super Bleach to, like, it's super emblematic of like the vibe of the series. These like crazy death god soul reapers, and they're just wearing cool stylish like jackets.
Yeah, dude,
like
that is
downtown.
The fucking thing. It's like, fuck, man. I know why they do it. I know why they make it TV-14, but I really wish they would more fucking shows would cross the barrier and just go more mature, because it's fucking cooler. Like, it literally is just cooler.
It's so badass.
It feels, Bleach does not feel like a 14-year-old would. There's no way a 14-year-old would be able to a typical one anyway, would be able to completely understand how complicated the universe is, like with the fucking the shit with the soul god and like all this other like fucking crazy stupid eyes and shit, and like his thing with Xrd experiments. Like I I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. Like, it's so fucking archaic.
Yeah. One of the things that's really weird about the series is that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really make sense, and then Kubo like gets around to explaining it, and you could tell like he kind of come up with it after the fact. Like, he wrote it at first because he thought it would be neat, and then he was like, oh, I have to explain it. So he ends up with this incredibly complicated setup of like how souls work, and like, well, soul reapers, they generate soul energy, but Quincy's absorb soul energy.
Yeah.
And Fullbringers, what the fuck? Like, what? They don't absorb it. They like
manipulate.
I don't even know what it is. They manipulate it, but they don't absorb it. It's so weird. And Arrancar are like like all these different like crossbreeds of different like soul species and how they all work. It's so convoluted.
Yeah, like, just trying to understand, I think just reading up on how their movement techniques work is already complicated.
Oh my god, yeah, like they all have
between the Quincy thing, I forgot what it's called, or the Shunpo versus the fucking Sonido.
Yeah. The Shunpo is that they move really fast, and Sonido is I think they actually teleport.
Yeah, and it's instinctual. I think.
Yeah. And the Quincy thing is I don't remember.
They learn it. Like, I think Shunpo and whatever the Quincy, like, I forgot it's such a ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
name.
Like it's like a German name or whatever that he can't. Or no, it's like a Japanese name, because like he hadn't figured out that all the Quincy stuff was going to be German yet. So he gives it like a Japanese name.
Yeah, which is very weird. Yeah, it's called Hirin Kyaku.
Yeah, Hirin Kyaku.
They bring it up in the show in various times, and to catch it is just so rare. Like, it's so rare they even name there's some techniques in the show that have literally no name. Like that.
Like what?
For example, apparently I have an example here because I look at the wiki from time to time because I want to. Like, I've written like a lot of like fan shit for Bleach.
Yeah.
It's called the Unnamed Platform Manifestation. And it's what Uryu uses in the Hueco Mundo arc to raise him and Orihime above that sky dome in Las Noches.
Oh, he just does a thing.
Yeah, he doesn't name what it is. Like, they never bring it up.
Yeah, I could just do this.
Right.
I guess, yeah, like, I guess you could just, because you could just, there's a lot of stuff that you could just kind of gloss over, like, oh, I guess he just absorbed, because they're in, like, Hueco Mundo, so he just absorbed soul energy from the environment and made a little platform. He's just, like, soul bending, I don't know, like Avatar.
Fucking, God, what
like
is...
spirit energy bending.
What is the meme?
What?
With Chad, thinking of Chad's meme is so weird because he said in Hueco Mundo that, strangely enough, he feels the most powerful in Hueco
Yes!
Mundo, which implies,
yes,
like,
and
then
he says that, like, yes, I remember that line. He says, like, I feel like my power is closer to an Arrancar's or something.
And then
never bring it up again.
Boom!
Retcon, he was a Fullbringer the whole time. Like, he just forgot about it. Because, like, he had this whole, like, skull and death, and, like, fucking he's Spanish, and all the Arrancar are based around, like, Spanish stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, all of his moves are Spanish. And then he's like, actually, he's like a Fullbringer, and all the Fullbringers are based around English.
Yeah, the Fullbringers are kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I saw that, like, digital kid video game guy, I just felt
Gamer Boy.
Yeah, Gamer Boy. I forgot his name. I forgot all of their names.
Yeah.
I
forget. Yeah.
But Gamer Boy, it's not. It's like, you know how you see an effect and you're just like, okay, there's a level of, is it cool or is it fucking cringe, and just it looks lame. And I feel like Gamer Boy is on the lame side because it's like, how do you create a digital effect in an analog medium like the air? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you can't...
It's like I don't know. It's Fullbringer is where, like, I feel like Kubo started to feel more like JoJo's. Which is, like, fine in JoJo's because, like, a bunch of shit doesn't... Like, he just makes shit up. Like, yeah, this is how it works. Like, there's just one arc in JoJo's where, like, Yeah, feng shui is like a real thing, and this guy has a stand that lets him like understand it, and he can like like stand in lucky spots and like hit you for critical damage. It never comes up again. I'm gonna spend an entire like 3 chapters explaining it. We're never gonna touch it again because I saw, and the explanation is just, well, Araki like watched a thing on feng shui and he thought it was cool, so he wrote a fight around it, and then you just move on. Like that's just this thing exists. It is possible. How does it work? It's there.
Yeah, it totally.
And then you just move
like
on.
JoJo.
That's like totally. Yeah.
I don't even know JoJo, but I just know people have like a stand or whatever, and it feels like in Fullbringer, yeah, they all have like a stand of some sort.
It started like that. Like there are some cool ones. Like I really like the idea. Like the time guy. The idea that he like forms a contract that's like time based. And like when the contract's up, something happens. Like that straight up feels like something that out of JoJo's. Maybe it would be a little more well executed in JoJo's, but like it's interesting.
For sure.
Or like Ruruka Tsundere Girl's thing where she can like make you small, or whatever. Like that felt like that's literally like a JoJo thing. There's like a character or characters who can do that. That's like, yeah, that reminded me heavily of that, as opposed to like other just like, oh, here's my special power type of thing. Like I felt like he got really creative. I think some of those in the Fullbringer arc are really good. Like I think Tsukishima is, sorry, what's his name? Tsukishima. I'm pretty sure villain guy with the bookmark. Like I really like his ability. I like the idea. It's like an interesting way of having like a one-hit KO that doesn't actually deal any damage. Like that's interesting.
Yeah, he does
to me,
give off
least.
Overpowered vibes, though. Like, it's like, dude, he literally put
Yeah.
Ichigo in, like, a situation, like, he's fucked. Like, even if he
Yeah, like,
kills
that's-
him, like,
Yeah.
or theoretically,
Everyone,
yeah.
yeah. That's like interesting. That's like, oh, this is a character who can like win with one touch, but it isn't like he kills you. He just like makes you think that you were like, he inserts himself into your memories and like overwrites your memories.
Right.
And so like that's just an interesting situation where Ichigo's like, oh my god, literally everyone thinks I'm evil, that I love. That's when he fucking should have had the fight with Chad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when it should have happened, and then they fight, and like he makes Chad regain his memories or something.
It's just funny
God.
that, like, the whole... It just feels weird, though. Like, not only did that whole arc just serve as, yeah, he got his powers back, but it serves as, like, a thing of... Now he's more powerful than when he started, because he now has Fullbringer powers, plus he's a fucking Shinigami again. And it's funny, like, that they just conveniently, like, Keisuke, Rukia, and Ichigo's dad just waited up until the moment where Ichigo is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting moments, in my opinion, where he's, like, fucking crying.
Yeah, I love that scene.
And he's like,
that's
dude,
a great...
I'm so fucked. I will literally kill myself to get my powers back, like, against him. And I don't know. I was really interested in the scene up until they just randomly showed up. I mean, I'm glad to see Rukia again. Great, because that's the first time she, like, showed her face in that arc. But I just feel like the circumstance was so, like, forced. Because at the beginning of Fullbringer, I was, like, really interested, but by the end, I was just like, are you fucking serious? Like,
yeah,
this is
it
how
starts
they end
dropping off. Yeah, it's like, the new design looks cool. That's kind of about it.
And, like, the guy, I forgot his name, Ginjo, maybe? I forgot.
Yeah, Ginjo.
Yeah.
Ginjo.
I can't stand this, because Ichigo had to go through all this painful-ass training to get his Bankai. But when Ginjo took Ichigo's Fullbringer, somehow that equals him getting Ichigo's Bankai, which doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah, he performed
What the fuck?
Bankai in
Or does he
Fullbringer form.
Really? Does that mean that... But wasn't he, like, already, like, a hybrid? Like, he was a Shinigami, then he lost his powers?
He is a Shinigami, but it's just the weird
And then he
thing.
lost his powers and became a Fullbringer. So, I always thought he just already knew Bankai, and he just lost it when he lost his powers.
Maybe he already did know Bankai, but
I
it's
think-
just the thing of each Bankai for each Zanpakuto, I think, is fucking incredibly unique. maybe, and like how you get
He
it.
just gets butterfly wings.
Yeah, but no, he just got it. You know, he just got that.
Or dragonfly wings.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point, even especially in the 1,000-Year Blood War, Bankai doesn't even seem like that powerful of a fucking thing anymore. Since, well,
yeah, it's
you know.
extremely power crept.
Yeah, it was just dwarfed. Like it used to be this crazy thing in the beginning, and now it's like, oh well, they can just take it.
Yeah, so, well, that's what's fucking cool now. I think it's almost like a meta thing, because this comes up. The thing with Bankai's being stolen comes up. It's not to like. I don't think. I mean, you could probably assume like they said it.
Yeah, no, that's
in the episode, but
revealed
like
in the first episode.
The fact that like I almost feel like it was a Kubo like creating a solution to this like weird Bankai thing, where he's like, now the characters can't use it. They have to like figure out, and it makes for like way more interesting fights because they have to figure out how to fight without just going into their overpowered state at the very start, which is just their solution to everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
and in a way, Ichigo, I suppose, was already in that camp because like he performs Bankai, but it's not like some crazy huge one like Sajin's huge fucking dude or whatever. It's just him fighting at a faster, more powerful state. But he only has like one named ability. And he uses it and they die. And
the worst. It's the most boring one. He shoots an energy beam. That's it.
Yeah, and it can.
He doesn't do anything cool with it.
Yeah, I think Soy Phones is really funny because it really is just the antithesis of what she should have as a Bankai. It just doesn't really make sense, but it's kind of funny.
It doesn't make any sense. I was thinking of her Shikai, which is like the 2-touch kill. But then I realized, like, oh yeah, her Bankai is like a fucking bazooka for no reason.
Right, and I think...
the greatest assassination.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know if this was in filler or not, it might have been in filler, but I remember... I thought the 2-touch kill was insta-kill no matter what, but apparently she uses it on this guy. I don't remember who it is or in what episode, and they don't die. Like, they just simply...
Well, she has to strike the same point.
Yeah.
She has to strike the same point.
The poison gets ensued, and, like, the guy's just like, yeah, I've already developed an antibody for that poison, and it's just like, what? I thought...
Is that... What? Wait. Is that in the anime?
It might be in the anime. It might have been Aizen, but I don't know.
There's a... Oh, fuck.
She did it to Aizen, and Aizen was just like, yeah, that's cute. Aizen's fucking stupid.
Dumb. He's so stupid. I was almost going to spoil something because it reminded me of something that comes up way the fuck later in this 1,000-Year Blood War arc, but it is not that. I was like, I don't think they ever interact. Yeah, so fuck. Do you have anything else to say about the episode itself? We've just been talking about what the series is.
Man, it's a great. Speaking of the 1,000-Year Blood War episode 1 and episode 2 coming out tomorrow.
Oh shit.
It's probably already out in like some parts of the world right now, but it was great, man. Like the pacing, it almost felt like unnaturally fast. Like I've been so brainwashed with awful pacing for so long, like 366 fucking episodes of it, and now that we got one that's like really fast and kind of an up-to-date format, it's like, man, it's awesome. Like Bleach.
Yeah. And you get and it didn't even feel like rushed to me.
Oh man,
despite how much happens.
Sorry, I got an idea. I bet, dude, I'm gonna predict this, okay? I don't know if they're actually gonna do this, but imagine if they did like an Evangelion type meme where they recreate
like rebuild
previous
Bleach
arcs of Bleach in the modern format. I would not be opposed to that at all. Like it sounds. I can't imagine watching like my favorite arcs like in the beginning in like the new format.
Just fixed.
Or maybe expanded. Maybe he would expand on like some characters or like something. I don't know. Because I know they do that with like there's like 3 versions of an episode according to the wiki. There's like original, and then there's expanded, and then of course filler. And expanded means that they're like pretty much revealing material that's maybe not in the manga.
Yeah. I remember specifically there's at the start, like near the start of like when they get to Hueco Mundo and they're trying to get to Las Noches. There's like in the anime, there's a little arc where like they fall into this like ravine, and there's like 2 episodes where they meet this character. I think it's like a Soul Reaper who's like trapped down there, and that was supposed to be in the manga, but it never made it in. So they added it in as technically filler in the anime, but it was just meant to be like a scene setting, or like to establish some more context about the world. Like he's been trapped in like Hueco Mundo for like centuries or something like that.
I forgot about that.
That stuff is neat. Yeah, that stuff's neat.
I do like that because I like the universe and stuff, and just Hueco Mundo and Hollows alone is already like a very interesting subject of how they have to claw their way up like a fucking food chain to become like Vasto Lourdes, which I think is like the biggest natural hollow.
The biggest tier. And then Menos Grande, I think, is the top. I think Menos Grande is below Vasto Lourdes.
Yeah, Menos Grande is pretty powerful, though. I think that's like the big tall boys with the fucking lasers.
Yeah.
That, Aizen just programmed to go after Ichigo that day that hollow bait was used by quitting. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I liked the episode. I liked the yeah, so it doesn't feel rushed. There's like you get like the whole intro with the 2 new like Soul Reapers that are assigned to the town. They get ambushed. Ichigo and friends show up. They're eating bread. Orihime's now eating a reasonable amount of bread.
I remember that picture of her
love that.
eating the bread in the classroom.
It's like the size of a refrigerator.
I want to find that picture. It's so fucking funny.
I'll use that for the thumbnail and the clip of this.
Yeah, here you go. Here's the picture. Boom. Crop it or something.
Nice. I love that.
Dude, it's fucking huge. What the fuck?
It's so big. It's like a giant loaf of bread. I love it.
Jesus Christ, the bread girl.
Yeah. There's like, I like how they have then like the weird guy who shows up that they think is an Arenkar, and then you get that whole cutaway to like bald guy and pretty guy. I'm blanking on their names. I think Ayasegawa's pretty guy, and then she's just eating it like a fucking pig out of a trough, like just sticking her face in the bread and like pulling it out.
Dude, I need to find an actual working GIF. There you go.
Yeah, and then there's like this mystery of like, oh, where'd these people go? And there's like a little clue that they disappeared themselves, maybe. And then just so much like nice little tone setting with like the very intro actually is why am I Mayuri, like Mayuri.
Oh yeah,
and Akon, who shows up a lot more throughout the arc. He's cool. Like giving him the debrief on what's going on. Like, it feels like something big's happening, and then the end of the episode is like, oh shit, lightning guy fucking impaled.
Dude, yeah, and some dude's head got fucking cut off. Like, his head was across the room. Like, dude, holy shit. I'm a big fan. Like, I hated the fucking censorship in the series up to that point.
Yeah, the manga's pretty bloody at some points.
Dude, yeah, people get fucking their arms cut off. Like, I think there's beheadings and shit, and like Soy Phone has like a very different look along with Yoruichi, but yeah, in the anime they fucking censored him.
Yeah, what's the last scene of the first episode? I'm forgetting.
Of the 1,000-Year Blood War. So I think it's either I don't remember, but I know part of it was Ichigo breaking out of the
cage.
Yeah,
or as it's like forming.
Stealing cage, and then the dude disappears in a shadow, which I thought they could only do that when they're in the shadows of something, but they can apparently just do that anywhere. That's kind of fucking overpowered, but whatever. Like, oh, I'm about to die. See you later, bitch. I'm going to the fucking Wandenreich place in the Shadow Realm, literally called the Shadow Realm. Right,
that's the end of it. That's the end of it. It's the first Ewok.
It's literally called the Shadow Realm. I'm not even fucking
kidding.
Is it? Yes.
Is it called the Shadow Realm? I forgot about that. It's in the
shadows of the Serete. That's where the fucking the Quincy City is.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts. And apparently, this is weird. This is really weird, but I think Burn the Witch is affiliated with Bleach. Like, I know Kubo's behind them both. I'm not, obviously, but I mean, apparently, they're like the Serete in the Soul Society is part of like one part of the Rukon district, and then another part of it is like West or East London, and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then I looked it up, and it's like, oh, that's Burn the Witch lore. That's like, apparently maybe they're like connected somehow. I've never seen Burn the Witch. Like,
I think he said that like technically, I actually didn't. I read the first like chapter that he did, like the one-off, and it's like, I think they said that the organization that they're in Burn the Witch is like Soul Society, like Western Division or something.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So he just, I don't think there's any real, like, as far as like, so far there isn't really like any, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I think it's just like a neat thing. But like a little detail he added in. I haven't. There was a movie or something. There was like a short film, like a 40-minute OVA, or there was something like that. I didn't check that out for Burn the Witch. But I want to know who the fucking voice actor for Yewatch is in this episode. Is he even credited?
I have no idea, but I just know it's old Japanese man.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing him on the IMDb, which is weird. It's odd. 1,000-Year Blood War, Yewatch, voice actor. Takayuki Sugo. What else has he done?
I love how Kubo just, I think, finally decided how big Odahime's tits should be. After so long.
Oh yeah, did they get bigger?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Like they're.
Do they get bigger, or does? Yeah, actually, I'm looking at this GIF because I was thinking like, did they get bigger?
The Fullbringer?
Does his art style just get more detailed?
It's bigger for sure. Like Fullbringer and in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc episode, yeah, they're like stupid.
Yeah. Oh, the voice actor for Yewatch is the same guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man 2018 Japanese dub. The Spider-Man PS4. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, just look at this shit. Like that is insane. Look at what the fuck, dude.
You're sending this to me?
Fullbringer, I think.
Yeah, I mean it is like 2 years later.
2 years, dude! What the fuck? That's insane.
I don't know. A lot can happen in like 2 years.
That's like one of those miniature soccer balls you can buy at the fucking store. They're not like full size. Like it's stupid, dude. I don't know.
Isn't there some fucking filler episode where like Ichigo's little sister is on the soccer team?
Wait, yeah, is Toshiro there? I think I don't remember.
Yeah, Toshiro's got to like help her win the soccer game or something.
Dude.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so overall, I am very good impressions from that first episode. I don't think you can watch it and really understand it. Actually, no, you definitely won't be able to understand what the fuck's happening if you're not familiar with like pretty much the whole series up to this point. Because from what I recall, basically everything comes back except for the filler. Well, except for like one bit, but that's not. Yeah. No spoilers there. Pretty much everything comes back. So if you watched Bleach 10 years ago, or more recently, excuse me, or read the manga, which I would probably recommend over. I think I mentioned my advised order to consume Bleach, which is read the manga and then watch the fight scenes on YouTube.
Man, that is a pretty good meme, like, actually. Except you probably want to watch some edited fight scenes, because
yes,
in a lot of the Bleach fights, it's like, clash, hey, we're going to have this big talk about what we just did and the explanations of our abilities, and you're not going to strike me, are you? Bah, bah, bah. And then, but later on, after, like, I think the quality drastically improves with the pacing after after Aizen's defeated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the story gets like a whole lot better, like it kind of does, I guess, but I mean, just the pacing and the quality of the animation is just like pretty good. I almost want to say that almost in the filler for the invading army arc, it's almost better in some parts than the Fullbringer arc, even though it's not canon. Like, it's
really
a weird distribution of effort.
All right. Well, we've been talking for like 2.5 hours.
And we talked about Bleach again for
Yeah, we talked about Bleach. Would you recommend the first episode?
Yeah, dude, like, what the hell? It's like so refreshing to see. Like, I was gonna fucking mention this earlier, but the thing I can't stand is how for so long they had all these interesting environments around them and stuff, and as soon as they get in a fight, they just go up in the fucking sky. And I know it's because, you know, they could draw it easier and shit, but like, oh my god. And then in the new shit, they're fighting on like train tracks with like trains coming at them and shit, like fighting under bridges, like it
on the rooftops
in rain.
It's cool.
It's fucking epic, dude. Like, it's actually cool. Like fighting in buildings too. It's like really refreshing to see how good the fighting gets later on. But yeah. Are you gonna have those pictures of Orihime like in the episode?
I'm gonna use it in the thumbnail for the clips episode. For the clips of it.
Okay.
I have a lot of fun making the thumbnails for the clips channel.
I would too. I just saw that you had one. I subbed to it. And I was meaning to tell you that if you ever needed you know, a clip or a video of mine that you're in, like that stream, like I would provide it for if you made like a best of or something, or like a meme clip or whatever.
That would be fun. I went back and I rewatched a bit of that stream just to catch the nailing my 9-inch joke.
I forgot about that fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm so proud of that. Yeah, Trent Reznor just too busy nailing his 9 inches.
Oh my fucking god. That was an ultra brain joke, I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Well, we've been talking for 2.5 hours. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Prox. Can you, is there anything you want to shout out?
Oh, we're closing out? Alright, sounds...
Yeah, we're gonna close out.
Sounds good. Yeah, all my previous stuff, basically, YouTube, the Twitter, the Insta, yes. And, I guess just,
I'll link those.
Yes, thank you.
In the description. So.
And I was gonna say that, shonen anime moment. Just saying, shonen memes. Just get ready if you're gonna watch Bleach. Like, catch up. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you've made it this far, if you have a question, please leave it in the comments below. But please phrase it in the form of a question, because I don't just want to read your thoughts out loud. I'm working on this video. Don't know when it's going to be out. Just hold on tight, guys. It's mainly just I fucked up my sleep schedule, so I just had like 2 days where I just like could not focus on anything. Hold tight.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Other than that, part of the main channel, the Patreon, the Clips channel. Check it out. Bye.